Welcome to Unwritten Stories of Significance. Today, I have a very interesting young lady. She's an author, and she carries a lot of letters beside her name. I discovered her on LinkedIn, and I'm just so happy to have her on because she's unstoppable. She is ready to make a change with what she's studying and apply it out in there to the world. With no further ado, I'd love to introduce to you Shania Bhopa. Hi, Shania.
Hi, Joy. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Before I go any further, I'm going to give it all over to you, pretty lady. You were named after Shania Twain?
Yes. My parents loved Shania Twain back in the 90s, and so they decided to name me Shania, and Shania actually means on my way in Ojibwe.
Sorry, say that again?
It means on my way in Ojibwe.
Wow. Well, you are on your way and you're not stopping. Like I said, like you are literally unstoppable. Well, my love, I know about you and I'm beginning to know more about you, and it's truly a pleasure. I know about you, but the viewers don't, hon. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to the viewers and we'll take the conversation from there, hon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shania. Before I introduce myself as a student, I am a sister and a daughter and a friend, and I am someone who wants to make an impact in my community. I'm currently in my doctoral studies at McMaster University, and I'm co-founder of the Canadian Courage Project, a local nonprofit organization, and author of Gurk Bianca.
All right. Wow. I love that introductory. I love it because you brought your family right in there. I loved it. Loved it. Really unique. Really. Okay. So you were born in Trinidad, Tobago.
My parents were actually, I was
Right.
born in Canada, so I'm second generation.
Okay. So have you ever been to Trinidad?
Yes, I used to go quite a bit growing up. I have quite a few family members that are still living in Trinidad, and it's really nice to go back when I can.
All right. What did you love about it, huh? What did you like about Trinidad?
Honestly, I don't have very many family members and extended family members in Toronto, in Canada. And so it's just a nice way to connect with people who have been raised similarly, but are across the ocean in a way, and the weather is beautiful.
All right. Does your mom cook a lot of the original food, the cuisine at home?
Yes, she does. And on Sundays, we'll try to order doubles from like a local Caribbean shop in the city.
Nice. Now I love roti, and I thought that roti was a traditional Jamaican meal, and I get corrected every single time. Am I correct? It is a Trinidadian dish.
Yes, I think different cultures around the world definitely have their own kind of makeup of what roti is, but I would say yes, like goat roti or the roti in a doubles dish is very much home to Trinidad.
All right, hon. So just quickly before we go into further about your life, hon, explain to the viewers, because you just said doubles. Some might know, some might not know. What is doubles? If you could just explain just for a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Doubles is a chickpea-based breakfast food, actually. So it is in between two pieces of roti or dough, and they're fried. And so it's crispy on the outside and definitely very soft on the inside. And typically there's a bit of spice in the center of the doubles, and it's like a sandwich, but a Trinidadian sandwich.
Oh, it's delicious, guys. It is absolutely delicious. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, my love. So now you are still at McMaster University, and you've done many, many things there. So if you can explain to the viewers what you've done and what you're continuing to do, and we'll build from your story from there.
Yeah. Growing up, I was always interested in the arts, but I was also very interested in healthcare and sort of the intersection between the arts and health. And so I completed my undergraduate degree in communications and health studies. And throughout my undergraduate degree, I did a bit of research on knowledge translation, worked as a knowledge translator, and understood sort of health literacy in regards to children. I then went on to complete my graduate degree and my master's in global health with a focus on healthcare management, completed the thesis stream, which then led me into my doctoral program that I'm currently in, which is global health. And currently I am a first-year student in the program. And aside from my role as a student at McMaster, I really value community-based work and community-based research. And so making sure that all the work that I do is fueled back into outputs for the community. And so whether that's my children's book that I created or the nonprofit that's data-driven workshops offered to youth around the city. So that's a little bit about me and my academic journey.
I love the way you say a little bit, like a little bit. Like I had it here, but I wanted you to say it because I knew that you could say it much more better than myself. Like that is incredible, hon. Really incredible. Now I asked this about a lot of university students. Have you enjoyed it? Have you enjoyed what you've been studying?
Yes, I 100% enjoyed every single moment of it because I think what I see as enjoyment is opportunities for growth as well as opportunities in terms of having a smile upon your face. And so whether there's been hard tests or really difficult situations throughout my academic journey, it has allowed me to be the person that I am. And I wouldn't be the person I am without all of my schooling and the people I've met, the network that I've built. And so I am really, really happy with my experience thus far.
That is awesome, sweetheart. Awesome, awesome. So well spoken. All right. Now there's a picture that you shared with me, and I'm going to bring it up. You were valedictorian of your faculty, right? And how was that like? Like, my gosh, how did you find out about it? And how, like, what was it like? Like, share, please.
Yes, so I was valedictorian of the Faculty of Health Sciences at McMaster. And the way that the graduation works is everyone in undergrad and everyone in a master's program, we're all graduating together because we all kind of feel this one mission of pushing humanity forward through health and innovation. And so everyone's under the same faculty. And it was a great experience, honestly, to just share my perspective with my peers and create sort of a positive goodbye as
Yeah.
most people aren't returning to school after their convocation. And
Right.
for me personally, I wasn't your prototype valedictorian or the student that you kind of imagine. In first year, I honestly didn't do too well. My grades weren't the best, and I didn't enjoy school the way I did towards my fourth year.
Right.
And so it was really nice to encapsulate that, you are more than your grades, you are more than your circumstances. And it's the person you are when you walk into a room that matters most. It's not about, if you have all A+ on your report card or you're in a specific prestigious program. It's about your intention.
Wow, you are real. You are real, Shania. That's why I'm enjoying your conversation and not even our pre-interview prior to this filming, is that you speak from the heart, because a lot of people will see everything that you've accomplished, but you brought a reality check to it, right?
Exactly. I think that's something I wish was a bit more prevalent, especially with people we admire most. That's one of
Yes.
the reasons why for my podcast, I interview professors and I say, what's one piece of advice you wish you could tell your 20-year-old self? Because we don't hear about those real intentions.
No, I know. I don't know why we don't, because it keeps us real, right? Absolutely. There was a quote that you left with me, and I can see where all your wisdom and guidance come from. Is from your beautiful parents. And you said it in the information, "The world is your classroom" by Henry Popa. So why is that so relevant to you that you wanted that to be shared?
Yeah, I think that quote, it's something that I didn't really understand when I was little. As I grew older, I understood how important the experiences are in your life that are outside of the classroom. I hate the term soft skills. We're going to call them transferable skills. But those skills that you have when working with other people or experiencing your day-to-day activities with individuals, those are the experience that are going to shape you and shape your intentions and your core pillars as a person in the world. And so the world is your classroom, meaning that you are going to learn so much from experience, and not necessarily traveling, but just experience in the world that you are in, and sort of to get your head out of the textbooks sometimes and really focus on fostering human connection.
Wow, my God. Incredible, hon. I can listen to you all day. Okay, so what have you learned from human connection and life skills? Like what have you learned and applied?
I've learned that collaboration and learning to be a good team player is going to take you that extra mile. And, I manage quite a few members of various teams, and being in a leadership role, I see that it's not necessarily the degree that you had that takes you that extra mile in the workplace. It's actually your skill set in terms of collaborating. How are you sharing ideas, but also how are you valuing the ideas of your peers? Emotional intelligence is so, so important, and you can't necessarily be taught that in a class. And so I would say human connection and fostering that human connection and really learning to approach life circumstances with empathy and compassion are ever so important.
Oh my good God. So now, my God, I'm speechless. Like I really am. Like I'm trying to find words to follow up after you, because this is the conversation that students need. And do you feel, and we have to go to break in a minute and a half, so the only reason why I say that, I don't want to cut you off, but do you think the universities are listening, schools on a whole are listening and applying that?
I think more and more as the days go on, but definitely when I was in elementary school or high school, they weren't fostered as I wish they were. And
Right.
so I am very hopeful for the next generation of students learning.
Right, my love. It's so, so true, because we've had many guests on the show, the majority, 98% of them are youth. And that's the biggest thing, is that they say that when they go to school, it's the pressure, but not knowing it's not just a degree. It's the life experience, it's applying it, which is so important. It's amazing. So now when you stay with your dad, who has been your mentors within your life?
Mhm. My parents have been my mentors in terms of my core pillars as a person and just approaching life circumstances. However, in terms of my professional academic mentors, I've had a number of them throughout the years, and my siblings are mentors in various ways. And I think that I've created this community of mentors that hit each facet of my life in a holistic way, which I'm very grateful for.
So you're really an outgoing person then.
I am in various circumstances. I think I really like to hear the way that people are thinking. And so with that, that means I ask a lot of questions.
That's good. And that's smart. That's very, very smart, because a lot of students or people in general, Shania, get intimidated by asking questions because they feel like they should know everything, but they should not hold back. And on that note, Han, we are going to go to break, and we're going to come back and introduce your incredible book. What's the title of the book, Han?
Gurk and Bianca, the great adventure of the gut and the brain on a path to mindfulness.
Oh my God, it's going to be great, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Unwritten Stories of Significance with Shania Bhopa. Phenomenal first segment, hon. Phenomenal. Really, just right from the heart. But now we're here in the second segment, and it's all about your amazing book, Gurk and Bianca. If we can just see a picture of the front cover of this amazing book that I've had the privilege to read and enjoy. There we go. Phenomenal. So what got you started on this amazing book, hon? I love everything because you use your family in there. It's digestible, the information for children to read. And yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you so much, Joy. I think there's a couple reasons as to why the book is the book and why it was published. But the first one being, I personally grew up with a number of health concerns, and it wasn't until I improved my health literacy as a child that I ultimately improved my well-being. And now looking back, I wish I had the tools to teach my younger self about health growing up. And
Right.
so that being one of the reasons, and it wasn't until my sister, Anar, who is one of the editors on the book, had a baby boy named Ian. And so what do you do when you're looking for a present for a toddler? You look for books.
Right.
And so I was looking for health-related children's books, and I honestly couldn't find any that discussed complex health topics in the way that I wish I could have read them. There's a couple books on the skeletal system and biology, but nothing on the gut-brain connection. And that was one connection and one system in which I really learned a lot from and it improved my health. And so I knew I needed to fill the gap. And so I got to work and published Gurk and Bianca to ensure that, no child's health across the world is left up to chance.
I love that saying. Love that saying. You got to put that even on a little bracelet or something, like something. And then the book on the so much marketing ideas, hon. We're going to bring up a picture here. And there's one with you sitting down with your nephew, Ian. Now that name, is there a meaning behind that name? Like it's so beautiful, Ian, Ayan.
Yes. I don't know if there is a
Right.
meaning. There definitely is, but we'll have to have my sister on the show to share what the meaning is.
Yeah, it's beautiful, hon. So now, putting this book together, did you run it by your mom and dad, or did you just put it down on Word and then showed it to your sister? Like, how did it all evolve?
It evolved from it. Well, in all honesty, it was May 2020, and I had started writing another book.
Right.
It was always my goal, and sort of my family has always said, Shania, you are going to write a book at some point. And so my mom and my sister and I started writing a book about women's health and just having both of their perspectives. So my mom is a naturopath and my sister's a physician. And I was the kid that grew up hearing both perspectives, just kind of trying to figure out how to navigate this world of caring for yourself.
Right.
And so we were creating a book together on women's health. And in that book was the analogy that I created called Gurk the Gut and Bianca the Brain. And they were the body buddies who talked all day long. And
all day
long. And it clicked for me once Ian was born. And I was like, why don't I take this analogy and create a children's book? Because I wish, health was discussed in the name of human names and human forms. Right. So we created Gurk and Bianca, and I hope one day I create a series of every health system.
Well, I read the book, and it was absolutely amazing. It takes a lot for me to sit down and read a book. But when I was reading it, it literally I started to vision myself as a child, because a child can look at it and realize Gurk, the gut, and Bianca, the brain. And they're connecting together because they want to know. And the little boy in there, the little boy was so frustrated, he didn't really know. And his mother stepped in. Like, it's so well done. Who did the illustrations on the book?
I drew them, and then I had a individual digitize all of my drawings.
Wow. So the humor in it, there's a lot of humor. So when you were with your nephew and your sister, the characters is Gurk is your nephew and Bianca is your sister, correct?
No, so Gurk and Bianca are the humans. The human in the book, the little boy, is Ian, and then his mom is my sister.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, all right. Tell you how fast I read it. Boo. Sorry. Okay, that's Joy. All right. So, did you take their personalities and put in the book? Because it's just so it's so good. Like, did you do that? Like when you were writing it, like were you thinking of your sister, thinking of your nephew?
Yes, I was. And I think in many ways, children everywhere can relate to how the human, which was Ian in the book, feel on a daily basis. You don't really want to talk about how you're feeling sometimes, but it's so important to share how you're feeling and that information with your mom or with your teacher or with your peers. And so that's one of the key learning lessons I would say that comes out of the book is how Ian starts off really nervous, kind of like really unsure about why he's feeling the way he's feeling. And lucky for him, Gurk and Bianca pushed him and promoted his conversation with his mom to talk about that he just wasn't feeling his best.
Wow, it's true, because I can contest to that, just talking with students or young people. Sometimes they're afraid to ask a question if something's wrong with them. They're afraid of the unknown. They're scared, terrified. Where can you relate to that? You can relate to that. Like, what made you scared that you didn't want to, if you can just bring that out, because that's a great story there.
Yeah, I think there's a layer of self-reflection that I think a lot of individuals and not just children kind of don't engage in. So that process of, understanding how you're feeling, understanding why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then finding a solution. That process sometimes isn't really discussed in schools, and we spend most of our time as children in schools. And so this book introduces the idea that you should think about how you're feeling, be mindful, maybe do a body scan or chat with your mom about how you're feeling, and take 5 minutes every day, whether it's a mindful walk or just a mindful 5 minutes sitting by yourself on a chair, or you are technology free for just 5 minutes, can make all the difference in creating that connection between your mind and your body and your experience in the world.
Okay, I'm going to jump in there real quick before I forget what you said. Technology free. All right, because the first thing when I go to the doctor, they say people just run into the internet and they start checking out what's wrong with them. And they take it for real. This is what I see. This is what's going to happen. So why is it they should leave technology for a little bit?
I think technology, and we've seen the research on how looking at a screen all day can really distort our reality and distort the way in which we are situating ourselves in the world around us. And I think it goes back to what I said earlier about human connection, and that
Right.
human connection of the human in the book connecting with his mom and
Right.
talking about his feelings and them like meditating for a couple minutes can take
Mm-hmm.
you that extra mile in just improving that relationship with your family, with your parents, with your friends, but also improve the relationship with yourself. Because I think sometimes when we use technology, it's for the greater good most of the time, but at times it can stimulate sort of the lack of personal reflection that we hope to promote with this book.
That's right, honey. You're doing it right now. How was it received? Like, where have you used it? What platforms have you done?
Yes, currently, so the book only was launched a month ago and it has been sold worldwide. It's crazy. I've seen people in Australia and the UK purchase the book, which is exciting. And I'm
Wow.
currently running workshops in elementary and in elementary schools. And it's really exciting. Next week, I am actually running a workshop for 40 families at my elementary school. So the one I went to.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can take a bunch of books there or can you just order it on Amazon?
Yes, so the school is ordering books for every family to take home.
And the book's only been out how long?
About a month and a half.
Oh my God. That's incredible, hon. That is amazing. How's your parents? How has been the feedback from your parents and your sister and Ian?
I think everyone around me has obviously been such a support throughout this entire process, but I think in terms of their response, they admire in a way that risk that I take, I think at all times. I'm a little fearless and I owe it all to them, and I owe this like fearless attitude towards my family 100%.
So you're like myself, and I'm going to say this on air because I was the fearless one. I was the one that went out there and got a motorcycle. I'm the one out there that joined a rock band. Yes, folks. I'm the one that did the off the grid stuff. So what makes you fearless and a go-getter?
I think it's grounded in the idea that had very optimistic, positive parents. I think the environment in which you surround yourself in is so, so important. So that's the first factor. The second factor is I have reconceptualized the way I understand failure. And I
Mhm.
don't see failure as, this like horrible thing. It's an opportunity in which you're learning and an opportunity in which you are learning from. And so when you readjust the way that you perceive a certain situation, why wouldn't you be fearless? Because you are just going out there doing what you want to do, and you aren't affected by failure, quote unquote, as we are kind of conditioned to know what failure is in the Western world that we live in.
I love the way you say Western world.
Mhm.
Why did you say Western world? I just had to ask.
Yeah. I think the way that we move within North America is very individual. It's very specific. And I lived in Australia for 6 months, and just the way that we are very go 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 here, and everyone is kind of always working towards something, and we aren't necessarily trained to live. We're trained to go into a program, get a certain job, and be fulfilled through our careers, which I 100% am and in line with. But I think
Mhm.
sometimes we don't, especially in formal education, don't put value on how to live.
Wow. Train to live. Okay, I got to grab that one. Train to live. Elaborate on that. Like, this is good. Train to live. I've got to quote that somewhere with your name on it. Okay, go.
Good. trained to live, meaning that we live in which we're fueling our soul and are fueling our purpose and our why in every opportunity in which we are graced with. And so I think we can see definitely that wisdom and that love and opportunity and passion through our work and our professional work. But if we don't value the time in which we're spending outside of work and the time we're spending with our friends or our families and creating, again, that human connection, we aren't living.
Wow, my God. You are incredible, hon. Like, you really are, like, all my guests are, but your words today have resonated in my heart, hon. I got to thank you so, so much for coming on. We're going to put everything out there real quickly. How can we find the book really fast? Just a couple of seconds.
You can find the book on Amazon. So type in Gurk Bianca, or on my website, www.shaniabhopa.com.
All right. Thank you from my heart, sweetheart. I'm looking forward to having you back, and we'll talk about that later. Thank you so much. Give me the heart real fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Bye, Shania.
Bye.